Hi there, this is Maurice Dwayne Smith, and this is Nuclear Popcorn. Today, we've made this nuclear melting pot. We have the whole globe here represented by these fine people here. To my right is Lucine Caribbean. She's the CEO and founder president of World Networking Associates, correct?
The World Networks, for sure.
There you go. Also way over to Australia, India's Miss International Australia, India, right?
Yes.
This is Preity Uupala, and she's an actress as well as quite a few hats she wears in the industry. To her far right is the gentleman known as Ricky B., not Anthony, not the president.
Jacobs.
Ricky B. Jacobs. I was always calling him Ricky B. Anthony. I think there was a president, or should have been a president, named Jacobs. But he's our man, he's our actor, and he's also a stuntman. And today we're all going to talk about not just entertainment, because I like the show to have something to do with the entertainment, because a lot of people see it, don't know how to get into it. I bring on people that can show you how not only to get into it, how to find people that can help you hone your talent, but also today we're going to talk about a connectivity dynamic, which is the human element, the spirit. Everyone's been through something bad. These people here are going to tell you not only how to overcome it, but to use it to help not only you and your business, but to impact those around you. And we also want to know, what is it that drives them? What's the driving force behind acting? Is it just to get awards, or in fact, is it to empower? Is it to touch people? Is it to leave a legacy? And that's what we're here today. What drives the spirit, how to protect it, how to overcome pain, how to recycle it, and here we go. So, Lucine, how are you doing today?
I'm excited.
I'm very happy that you came down here. Thank you for appearing.
Thank you for inviting me.
I've always seen you at your incredible networking events in Hollywood, and also most recently at the W Hollywood. You and your friend Vita with the blog, that was incredible.
Oh, that was a fabulous event.
Yeah.
Vita happens to be one of the ambassadors in our network. So as you know, it's a network of entrepreneurs, and we give back to each other in our communities. So my story starts off by when I was 16 years old. I used to use MySpace back then, and I used to make connections all over the world, from Indian actresses and actors, you name it, to Hollywood people, to politicians. We all need each other, right, for growing. And throughout the years, I started hosting these networking events, mainly in Hollywood. And I realized that everybody needs a network of themselves, correct? If you're an actor, you need to know the right people in your circle to take you to the next level. So years later, after having struggles, ups and downs, and you know how that goes, started the World Networks, which is the official network for entrepreneurs giving back now.
And it's the most powerful network. I've
If you
met
want to call it that, sure.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I've been to it. I've seen your command of the audience. You have them in the palm of your hand. You know, you're like a puppet master. Everyone's like, you know, just transfixed to you, which is cool, which is very cool. So, and that's another question I want to ask you, but a little later, of how you got your skill, or is that just natural, how you have built up a rapport? But tell us more about not only what you're doing now, but when you were in Armenia, was there something that brought you over here? Were there any compelling, magnet-like draws that brought you to America? And if so, did you always want to do a networking company like you amassed?
To be honest, I was always intrigued by the arts. So culture to me is, I love people in general, from different nationalities, and art in general. And I believe networking is art, or entrepreneurship. You have to be an artist first to use your creative skills to make something of nothing, right? That's essentially what we're all working on. And I am first an artist, so I do paint, and I've sold my artwork in the past. So back then, oh, well, now you do. So I used to host art shows and promote my art through the networking events that I was hosting, and would sell the paintings and just give it back to various charities. So from the Cancer Association, you name it, dozens of them. Then people started approaching me saying, well, Lucine, why don't you do an event for us, and you can showcase your art, we could raise money and give it back. But then when so many people asked for it, I said, wait a minute, why can't we duplicate this process and put ambassadors from different ethnic backgrounds? So in this case, Vida Ghaffari, she's Iranian, so she could promote and showcase Iranian entrepreneurs, whether they're in entertainment or in any other field. And then word just started to spread, and next thing you know, from different countries and continents, people wanted to do the same thing. So here we are at the World Networks.
Very cool. Who do you want to, no, what's the focal point of your work? I know it's for charity. I know it's to bring people up. When it's all said and done, and you're looking, and the world looks back on your work, what type of legacy would you have liked to leave, and who are you really seeking to empower? Is it just women? Is it women? Is it all peoples? I know it's a whole lot to throw at you, but.
Recently, I actually went through a spiritual transformation. What that means is that I've aligned my mind, body, and soul together. So I've found my life purpose, and it is to basically connect 1 million entrepreneurs to opportunities worldwide. So what that means is that if I have a network of 1 million entrepreneurs, if I help them connect with an opportunity, whether it's that investor they needed, or whether that's that new contract they needed, or to get in that film they always dreamed of working with this producer, you name it, it's an opportunity. The opportunity leads to financial freedom, opportunity in general, time with their families, you name it. So you're helping the person, you're helping their family, you're helping the family, you're helping the community, you're helping the world. So my life purpose is to make the world a little bit better than what it is now. And I believe I can do it because I have a network of incredible people who have the same purpose. That's what it is.
Very, very, very good. We're going to come back to that in just a couple of seconds. Just want to move on over here to the beautiful Preity Uupala. How are you today?
Thank you so much. Namaste. Thank you so much for having me. I feel so blessed to be here in your presence.
Oh, you're welcome.
Studio.
Thanks for bringing your charm and your beauty. I can hear the popcorn about to explode right now. But just wanted to thank you for coming. And you are Miss International Australia.
Miss India International.
I
and
always
Miss
mix it up.
India, Miss Earth Australia. It's 3 different titles.
Yeah, what are those titles for us?
Miss India International, Miss India International, and Miss Earth Australia.
Now, I saw one time where there was a picture of you holding 3 different
Awards. Yeah. This was in China, and Mr. Jackie Chan himself had well, not just
in China, I wanted to
yeah,
meet
yeah,
him.
not just met him, but at the Asia Pacific Film Festival a few years ago, he presented me with these awards on behalf of the delegation, and I was representing some movies, so I was the face of these movies, and the movie won.
And I'm still waiting for that picture.
Yeah, and I was like, are you serious? And it was just a whirlwind, and I became an overnight star in China. Wow. Like, I mean, people on the streets were recognizing me. When I left, the immigration officer knew who I was, and he was like, I'm so honored to meet you and like let you through, and it was just a trip, you know, yeah.
You're a trip, you're very mind-catching, you're very eye-catching.
Thank you. So my story is from Sydney, Australia. I'm Indian, but born in Dubai, lived in Paris, then moved to Australia, and I was an investment banker there. I did the corporate world, didn't fulfill me, wasn't my dharma. I went through my own spiritual awakening when I was quite early on in my life, and all these insights came, and I realized that I'm artistic and creative, and my purpose is to tap into that creativity and be on the world stage. I need to be on the global stage, speaking, writing, being, and inspiring and empowering people in that way. So that's my purpose, and acting was just a natural thing. I won a scholarship to come to New York a few years ago. That's what brought me out here, and since then it's been such a magical journey, because I think when you do tap into your mind, body, spirit, and you connect with your soul and your divine purpose, the world becomes magical. There's synchronicities everywhere, amazing. You just become a radiant magnet, attracting all the people, places, and opportunities. And so it's been one big unfolding, magical journey after another for me. Yeah.
Now, didn't you graduate college at 17 or something crazy like that?
I was 16 when I started university, and I graduated at 20 with 2 degrees. Yeah, this is like a long time ago. And I was set to do a PhD, which I gave up to do the corporate thing, which I eventually gave up to do the entertainment. But I will come back to the PhD one day. I'm also a professional astrologer, and I would like to do my PhD in astrology, proving astrology.
Cool.
Because I know it works. So,
I know you do it.
yeah.
But I mean, now some people they'll leave from Kansas or Mississippi to come to
Yeah.
Hollywood. You left from
Or Sydney, Australia,
Australia to
land
come
of
out
down
here
under,
just on a
literally on
whim.
the other side of the world. You need a lot of balls, I think. You need courage. You need to be, I'm an Aries, so the good thing about Aries is they are fearless. You know, it's instead of thinking, oh my God, this is scary, they think, oh my God, this is an adventure, bring it on, baby. And that's how I thought. I landed here, bought a one-way ticket, didn't know anyone, had never been to America before, never been to LA, no accommodation, no, just a little suitcase, landed here, and I'm glad it worked out that way because all the magical things happen because of that. If I had planned if I was set here, it wouldn't have worked out as well as it did in the random way that it did. It was more magical. Yeah.
Well, let me go around from, instead of going A to Z, let me go from Z to A.
Yes.
A lot of times things happen because of a rebound, like some people get into boyfriend, girlfriend off of
Yeah.
the rebound. Was there some dark serendipitous event that catapulted you in the opposite direction out? Or was it just a sunny day and you're like, you know what, I'm just gonna go?
No. I think when I was in the banking, I was burnt out, unhappy, unwell, knew that it wasn't what I wanted to do. And I went through a very, very deep, intense period for months of soul searching, evaluation. That's when I started meditation. That's when I got into yoga, spirituality, in a very deep way, praying, gratitude, tapping into the universe, listening to my inner voice for the first time in my life. So all of these things, and I could hear it, So that period was very tricky because I didn't know what it was. I'm a very different person now. I get an insight and I follow it. But back then, I was like, what is this voice? And why is it telling me to do this? But I went with it, so it was very tricky. I must say my parents are very supportive and loving to let me give me wings and let me free. I'm sure they were terrified in their heart. My dad was probably getting a heart attack. But I don't know, I think they loved me so much that their love for me was greater than their need to control or protect me. So we would rather see me happy doing what I needed to do. And I'm forever grateful for them for that. Yeah.
So when all the average Australians were on the beach running from the great white shark,
Cooking the barbecue on the, put another shrimp on the barbie. Yeah.
were you home?
Oh, I was a maniac. I was like,
carrying
we're
on,
gonna do this, make it
compounded.
happen. And the scholarship that I won was something I didn't even apply for. I mean, everything was just so magical. It
Now, the
just
scholarship was an acting scholarship.
a film and acting scholarship in New York.
Now, wasn't there a big name connected to that?
It was the New York Film Academy, and
A big actor, right?
no, it's a film academy. Yeah, they have some great actors and directors who guest lecture there and all that. It was a wonderful experience.
Cool.
Yeah. And now I produce. So spirituality is the basis of what I do, and that's a real foundation. So every project that I do has that in it. I have my own radio show, and I'm writing a book, and a TV show I'm producing. They're all very spiritual in nature.
As I asked Lucine, when it's all said and done, what's your legacy going to, what do you want it to point at? What do you want to have been the gist
Yeah.
of what Preity was about when she was on planet Earth?
That she inspired and empowered people with her words and her writing and her presence and her work, and someone who was radiating love and light.
Very cool. You're radiating pretty natural. You've been radiating since you came into the studio.
Thank you.
And now we're going on to Ricky B, the man. What's up, son?
Well, listening, listening to these beautiful ladies, it's cool because I feel like I'm in that position now, listening. My whole life, I didn't listen. I haven't been listening. And I've been wondering where I'm at. And it's just, it's coming to, man, full circle now, just being in here where my focus in my journey has been to help the world. And for me, I've had to figure out how to help myself. And it's been a journey. Oh man, I guess I'll put it out there. I've been an alcoholic, had a couple of DUIs, trying to figure stuff out, you know, not listening to my voice, being confused by my voice, being confused by, say, myself, being confused by where I live, where I need to fit in, all that type of stuff. So for me, it's really been this, I'm confused. What's going on in my head? I don't want to listen to it. What's going on? But just listening to you guys, like I said, it's coming to a culmination where I'm like, I am supposed to be here. I am supposed to continue to listen. I've had to disassociate myself from friends that I grew up with, and it's been really sad. And, you know, I feel alone because people that I've grown up with are not where I'm going in life. And it's been tough because for me, acting is a way to not be here in a sense. Because sometimes I don't want to be here. I don't know if that makes any sense to you guys, but sometimes I don't want to be here. And I think all my actions by being an alcoholic and by destroying myself has led me to here, where it's like this eye-opening and awakening where it's like, man, I'm not crazy. There is a reason why I'm listening to myself. There is, you know, these voices in my head are the right guides. They're not the wrong guides, because I'm actually listening to, you know, positivity and love. And I used to just be all about negativity and trying to, you know, I guess as an African-American male that was smaller than everybody else on the football field but had to prove that he was tough, I've always had a chip on my shoulder. And with that chip on my shoulder, taking it into the real world and taking it into the business of acting, for me, it's always just been, you know, I just have to be like this facade. I just have to be this tough guy. I just have to be this, you know, hardcore, whatever, when my mom is a nurse and I have goodness in me. That's all I am. I'm a personal trainer because I want to help people get in shape. Like you said, your journey, it's amazing that, you know, you lost 60 pounds and you're feeling good about yourself and yeah, the 80 pounds.
No,
Well,
it's not 80 pounds.
well,
It's exactly
but
60.
I think that's amazing because I've also joined, I'm plugging everything, Herbalife. And Herbalife is proper nutrition and giving people a life that they never had before. I came out of the womb with a fast metabolism, you know, running 40-yard dashes and catching touchdowns. So for me, it's been easy. So I want to give that, I'll go ahead and say, God gift to people. It's easy for me to share proper nutrition. It's easy for me to show someone how to work out and tell them how to do it correctly. So that's what I want to give to people, along with my acting. Kind of going off tangent a little bit, but with my acting,
How did you get started in acting? Who was your driving force that inspired you to become an actor? Because I know you've done some shows that, you know, you were in fact the first African American male to have been on those shows. How did that occur?
After playing football, I got a stunt gig as a football player on Starship Troopers. Do you guys remember that little futuristic football scene? I'm one of the football players on there. So Paul Verhoeven, Peter Verhoeven, Paul Verhoeven, the director gave me a cameo in that. And so once I got the cameo in that futuristic football scene, I've had the bug ever since. So that was in, 1997, 1995. So I got my SAG card and had just done extra work, got little bit roles on Sweet Valley High, 24, Goosebumps. I've been on Blind Date. I've been on reality TV shows before reality TV shows are what they are now. Like I was on Blind Date, I was on Dating Game, I was on Street Smarts, I was on Change Your Heart. Like I've been on a lot of reality shows. So for me, it was more to just figure out who I am. Like that's what this whole thing has been for me. You know, as an athlete, well, I didn't make it. I made it to the training camp for the professional. I made it to a tryout for the Chicago Bears to get into training camp, and I blew my knee out in the tryout. Never got hurt my whole life, and I blew my knee out for the tryout.
Wow.
So for me, it was one of those things that set me down that spiral, becoming an alcoholic, not knowing what I'm going to do, figuring, oh man, I was going to be a football star. Well, now what am I going to do? Well, maybe it's something else.
Maybe it's a record-breaking actor.
Maybe,
Maybe it's, but it won't be that cycle that I saw you in that last flick, where you got the guy. And would you like to talk about that?
Yeah.
What was the name of that flick?
He's talking about a movie called Hard Requittals I was in. I was in a movie about revenge. The movie is about a man that meets his physical therapist 15 years later who got him put in jail. Basically the story is about a kid that was physically and mentally abused. And the doctor, instead of helping him, got him turned in. So he was in jail for the last 15 years. Well, he comes out of jail and he meets the guy in a coffee shop and makes him like this nice little cocktail and basically murders him with this cocktail.
You know,
At the same time, because of revenge, and what's not good about that is I end up getting killed at the very end of it. So it's almost kind of like, you know, eye for an eye, reap what you sow. It's not what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
So it's really kind of like bad things come with bad things. So it's really not one of those happy-go-lucky movies. It's one of those movies that basically says, hey, you know, you reap what you sow.
You know, when it's all said and done, what's your legacy? What do
Yeah,
you
because
want
I've been
left
talking
behind?
about everything going on. Man, my legacy really is to, I want little, young, African-American boys who are mixed like me because I'm mixed French and black to figure out what their purpose is and to not be confused. Because for me, I was always told I needed to pick a side. What side?
Yeah, there's only one side.
That's right.
You know?
Pigeonhole you.
Well, yeah, you know, I need to be black. I need to be, what are you talking about? So for me, it was this understanding of being human.
It's the human side.
Being a
There's
human
only
being.
one side.
You know, nuclear popcorn, we're from all over the place. We're all the same.
That's right.
We eat the same, love the same, hurt the same, bleed the same. If we all walk out this door and get hit by a truck, we're all dead. Doesn't matter who we are. So for me, it was really just understanding that I'm a human being that's of mixed race, and I really want to leave a legacy for young children to know you can be whatever you want to be. You can be whoever you want to be. You can do whatever you want to do, but you have to educate yourself.
There you have it.
You're educated, you have double degrees. My sister has double degrees. I just have 1 degree because all I needed, you know, was one for football. But for me, it was really just an understanding of trying to figure out who I am in this world and what do I want to do. And I want to help people. I want to help kids, and I want to help families that can't help themselves.
That's cool. That's cool. Now, you've touched on something that I wanted to get into, not that I'm a psychologist or anything, but I wanted to show people can overcome a very bad situation like what you have. And I know fighting alcoholism is like a daily thing, but you've gotten out of it. Well, you've gotten it, and now you're riding it instead of it riding you. So now I want to ask you all, is there something in your life that has attacked you as fiercely as his alcoholism has affected him? And as a result of that, have you learned new skills? What has been that heavy heart, gut-wrenching thing? And are you now able to tap into something else as a result of it, or is that something you don't want to talk about?
For me personally, I remember it was 2010. I broke my right leg. I was basically disabled. So for somebody who's always been fit her entire life, I'm a martial artist. I had a black belt. I was always petite, running around, making things happen. But at that time, when you lose your physicality, you lose the way of working. So financial situations came in, and at that time I was taking care of my family as well. So finances, you name it, but this happens to everybody. There's millions of people who would be affected here, especially in America. If you lose one source of income, physically, if you're unable to work anymore, it really, yes, exactly. So that, I feel like, I wouldn't say God purposely did that to me, but that accident happened for a reason, because it brought me out. A year later, I had the idea of my company, which you should not be stuck in a problem just because you lose some type of financial situation takes place. Your family should not be going down. So there are opportunities out there. Second thing was I gained X amount of pounds, so my physical image was no longer there. So my confidence level went down. I didn't want to see people. I would host events of 500 guests at the top locations and would be hiding behind the camera because I didn't want to be seen. So that's when the confidence had to come back. And of course I prayed, and my prayers were answered, and I prayed for somebody who would help me get back in the gym. Somebody who would motivate me, and somebody from my own network, Dawn Christie, she's a spiritual guide, she came in my life and transformed my life. So here I am, have lost exactly 60 pounds. I see the world in such a positive manner. Everything is aligned. Like she was saying, like it's when you're balanced, things come to you. And that was my situation as far as trauma, and I'll leave it at that. There's just a lot of ups and downs, but good always comes out of it. Yeah.
Thanks for sharing.
Thank you.
And now Miss Preity.
Yeah.
I'm sure it hasn't been sunshine all the time.
No, not at all. You know,
But I've never seen you sad though.
I hide it well. I
saw
think
you
I've-
mad
I-
once,
I'm-
so
oh, I'm a good.
You probably won't remember
I
that.
try to
Well,
hide.
you weren't mad at me, but you were mad.
I try to hide my emotions.
Or maybe not mad, just intense.
I just try to keep it together, but whereas inside there's so much turmoil
So
going
tell
on.
us what nicked your pain bone.
I think I've had periods where I was very unclear about my direction in life. Although I was in a very nice situation, it wasn't what I was destined to do. It wasn't my dharma, my life purpose. So, you know, I feel very lucky because the universe sort of intervened in a way and sort of kicked me out of where I was and put me where I needed to be. But there was like long periods of feeling very lost, very confused, no guidance, no direction. I got into you know, I was very unhappy at work, and my lifestyle wasn't good. I wasn't keeping healthy. I would go to the pub every day after work, as we do in Australia, and I can relate to you in that way. And luckily, I snapped out of it a few years later. But I've had those periods, and then when I did sort of get the insight of what I needed to do, it was wow. You got to really take the leap forward, just dive into the unknown.
I'm gonna have to dive into this. We got a little time left.
Yes.
Let's do a quick zoom.
Okay.
What's your next project?
The 2016 Entrepreneur Awards, December 6th in Los Angeles, where people can find out about it at theworldnetworks.com.
Boom, next project.
Check out The Eternal Hour on iTunes and UBN Radio. I'm writing a book and also producing my TV show.
Next project.
I will be directing and starring in a film called The Conspirator. Cinematographer, Miosha Bean.
We're out of there. This has been Nuclear Popcorn.
There you go.